Well, I wanted to pay tribute to everything he had done and created, and he had created a very nice business. And I said, you know what? I mean, I kind of knew a little bit, maybe enough to be dangerous, I guess, to get started. Yeah. But I said, I'm going to give it a try, and I did. And then what started happening is, like, I was really working well with clients, and they started recommending me online and, talking about me. So that just kind of kept building the business as we went along. And so my attitude was like, okay, if it runs into the ground, so be it. I gave it a try, and I can always do something else. But if it goes okay, well, then it goes okay. And then, I can move forward. And so that's what I did.
Welcome back to the Just Build Baby Studio. You're listening to the BuildX Podcast, your ultimate guide to creating exceptional homes, innovative living spaces, and staying informed on all aspects of residential building technology. I'm your host, Buzz Artiano. Today, we're excited to have Cathy Martins in studio with us. Cathy is the president of Budget Blinds South Shore with 12 years of experience in the blind industry. Welcome, Cathy.
Hello.
Super glad to have you here. So I always like to start out with, just who you are, how you got started in this industry, maybe take us back a little bit before you got into Budget Blinds and how that all came about.
Okay, so before I did Budget Blinds, I worked for a market research company in Norwell, did like high-tech research with consulting with clients, including like HP, Canon, and so forth. And then my husband at the same time, he started Budget Blinds as a franchise. So in 2003, he started on this adventure and did it by himself. It was just him doing sales and installation, and had one territory. It was like the Hingham-Weymouth area. Did very well with it by himself. He built a really great business, but unfortunately in 2013 he passed away. So I jumped in with 2 feet and said, all right, I'm either going to make it go or not. So I decided to give it a whirl and got a little bit of training and help from some other folks, and went down the path of doing window treatments and found out I really loved it. And I was doing mostly sales, and so I brought an installer. So that helped me grow the business because I was doing all sales and the installer was doing the installs for me. So we grew quite a bit, doubled in size actually under my watch. And then I brought a partner in 2017. We expanded to 4 territories. So now we cover like Braintree, Milton, Quincy, down to the South Coast and like everything in between. So we cover a pretty wide area. And each area has its own little quirks and characteristics.
Well, let me, before we get to that, let me take you back a little bit. So prior, and again, sorry for your husband passing away. Prior to that happening, were you involved in the business at all?
A little bit. Since I did market research, I helped him with some marketing. And back in the day, at this time, we were doing Yellow Page advertising, actually. So that has gone by the wayside. Right. But I helped him do that kind of stuff. I would go, they would have an annual convention. I would maybe go with them to that just to kind of see.
So you were still working your full-time job?
Yes, my other job.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you weren't going on sales calls?
No.
You weren't meeting? So what did that look like, that day of reckoning, if you will? Not obviously the passing, but when you did, what made you say, you know what, I'm going to do this? What happened? What was that decision matrix?
Well, I wanted to pay tribute to everything he had done and created, and he had created a very nice business. And I said, you know what? I mean, I kind of knew a little bit, maybe enough to be dangerous, I guess, to get started. Yeah. But I said, I'm going to give it a try, and I did. And then what started happening is, like, I was really working well with clients, and they started recommending me online and, talking about me. So that just kind of kept building the business as we went along. And so my attitude was like, okay, if it runs into the ground, so be it. I gave it a try, and I can always do something else. But if it goes okay, well, then it goes okay. And then, I can move forward. And so that's what I did.
So, but that, I mean, obviously that was a big move, right? You left a paycheck job that you'd had for quite a while, it sounds like.
Yep.
Right? And you said, I'm going to go out on my own.
With benefits too, by the way.
Yeah, with benefits, right? So you're going for no benefits, right? Out on your own, right? Your husband had recently passed away.
Yeah.
That was a pretty bold move.
jumping in. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yeah, there was a lot of sleepless nights
I
over
bet.
that, and
Yeah.
I worked pretty much round the clock because I was learning.
Yep.
So I would go out in sales calls all day, and then prepare quotes for people. And at that time, we were preparing quotes for people like in Word, like it was very basic stuff.
Yep.
Wasn't
You
we
were
hadn't
going tick, tick,
yeah
tick,
we
tick, tick.
hadn't gotten our good software yet.
Yep.
So it was very time consuming. I was learning. I had to call the vendors, and I was calling people back that had called for appointments and so forth. So it was pretty intense time, and I was pretty tired, but it worked out. So I'm glad to be able to say that it was a good move.
Yeah.
So
But you understand that made you bulletproof.
I guess so. I hope so. I mean,
it did.
yes.
That's trial by fire.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Like I said, I gave it a go, and I had a lot of support, so I was happy for that. So.
Well, that's a great story, and I
Yes.
appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yes.
So you have a pretty big territory. It sounds like here it says you work all the way from Braintree down to where's your cutoff?
So like we butt up against Plymouth. We don't cover Plymouth. Someone else covers that. But we go down to like the South Coast, like Marion, Mattapoisett,
Okay.
Wareham, kind of like corridor, and we have the Bridgewaters and like we have Carver.
So a pretty
and-
big area.
Yeah, pretty big
Yeah.
area. Yep.
So, so now you're in the industry. Now you say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to make it, right? And you've hired your installer. So take me through. I'm a new customer, right? And I'm interested in having my window treatments done. And so I reach out to you. I'm assuming mostly everything's online now.
Yep.
Right? Or you get a phone call.
Yep.
Old-fashioned, right?
Yep.
Imagine that.
Yep. We still have an older generation population that still calls us.
Yeah. So you get a phone call or lead. Let's say we get a lead or a potential client. So talk me through that. What does that look like? Obviously, you get their pertinent information, and then do you consult with them over the phone ahead of time? Or do you automatically make an appointment? What does that look like?
So we try to sometimes people call knowing what they're looking for. They might call up and say, I need shutters, or I need blinds, or I'm looking for something inexpensive, or I'm trying to block the light in my bedroom, or whatever it might be. So sometimes they know ahead of time what their needs are. And we try to help them through that. Like we ask them, how many windows are you looking to cover? Where are you located? What's your time frame, kind of thing. And then we'll get them on our schedule as soon as we can. And we usually can get people on our calendar pretty quickly because we have about 3 to 4 salespeople, depending on the day, because we have some part-time folks. So we can get people pretty quickly on the process.
But do you automatically just come measure, or do you give me some price guidance before you come out?
It's hard to do price guidance before because it kind of really depends on a lot of factors, like what are they going to choose? People don't always know what size their windows are because they might have a rough idea and it might not be accurate. So we like to go out and we do everything on site with people if they want us to. We also have our showroom in Norwell, so people can do kind of a two-prong approach if they wanted to. They could come in to the showroom, and a fair amount of people do that actually as a way to start working with us. They can come to the showroom.
So you have walk-ins.
Yes, we have walk-ins. People can look around. We have over 100 things on display, so people can check things out. Because people are visual by nature, so they want to see things.
Yeah, I know for me, it would be really hard to pick a window treatment without at least understanding what it looked like in the fabric and all that.
Sure, yep.
Yeah,
And
or the material.
Yeah, exactly. So we try to have as many different variety of things on display so people can see.
So the people that come out to, I'm just going to salespeople, the sales associates that come out to look at the projects, are they field measuring, and are they bringing samples with them, or do they have some like an electronic book? What does that look like? So
we have a bunch of different things. We have books that people can look through for materials. We have hand samples so we can show them what it looks like in their window. Yeah. We actually have like actual manufactured little blinds we can put in the window they can look at. And we'll do measurements. So we kind of like to call ourselves design consultants because we really try to help people through the process. We'll tell them the pros and cons. We won't tell them exactly what to get, but we'll say, in our experience, this is what works here, and what might be a good thing for you, or why you might not do this treatment in this spot. Right. So we try to, give them as much help and guidance along the way. And then we can quote on site, depending on... I was just going to ask you that. So you have an iPad or something, you're right there, and you're
putting you in the selections?
Some of the younger folks can do that quicker, so they can put the measurements in. And
why is that?
They're just really quick at things like that. I tend to, if I go out, I still go out. I don't go as much as I used to, but I kind of do more management now. And so if I go out for a customer that I've seen many times before, I'll say, I'll get you the quote and send it to you. And so that usually works fine. But some of the kids will do it on site, and it's best to do that actually because you're right there in the home, and usually that's
and they want to know how much it's going to be, right?
Better process. Yeah.
And so now you're in the home, and you've said, okay, it's whatever, $2,500 for these window treatments. Talk me through that. Do you take a deposit right there? Do you swipe a credit card? How's that look? What does that work like?
So we have a program online that we can take their credit card right on site, and they can sign on the dotted line, so to speak, and we usually take half a deposit, 50% of the order, and they can do that right there with our system that takes the credit cards for us.
Okay, and do you have any type of financing for people?
We do. We just added financing actually, which is great. So customers can do financing now with us, and there's a bunch of different programs that they can utilize for that, depending upon.
And that's instant approval right there.
Yep. It's called Service Finance, and it's out of Truist Bank. Yeah. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So now I've ordered it, and you're giving me a window of how long before I see it?
It can depend on the product, but on average it's around 3 weeks, and we're usually installing kind of after that third week. So once we get it, we like to have it in hand because you never know what happens. There's like tornadoes and floods.
You want to make sure it actually showed up, and it's the right thing. They measured it right, and blah, blah, blah.
So we usually try to make sure we have it in-house before we set up the schedule. And then, so then we have a team of installers that go out to do that.
And the installers are employees, or these are just trusted vendors, or?
We have a mix of employees and some contractors that work with us for that. Yeah.
So on any given day, there's a lot of activity going on then.
Yep. We have about 10 people total that, between salespeople, office staff, and installers that are.
And so how many installs is that per year, roughly?
Per year?
Yeah.
Oh, per year? Oh, I don't know.
You're supposed to know this stuff.
Per year? I don't know what the per year amount is.
Is it 2,000? Is it 3,000?
So if you figure we do, how many days? This 5 days a week, 52.
That's 2,000. There's 2,000 work days.
So we're doing like 4 to 5, depending on the day, installs a day.
So you're doing 10,000 installs a year.
That's probably a good number. Yeah, that's probably a very good number. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's busy.
It's busy.
Yeah.
It's very busy. Yeah.
So now it's come and installed, and I love it.
Perfect.
That's the goal, right? The dream.
Yeah.
So how do I interact with you after that? Is there a Google review? Do I get an automatic email?
We love to get reviews. So a lot of times our office staff will send out the final invoice, and then you can pay that, and there's also the option to review right there and then.
Right.
And so that usually works out pretty well. People like to review, get them right when they've finished their project.
Yeah.
So that works out pretty well.
And then tell me about the warranty for these products.
So we have a great warranty, actually, because Budget Blinds is a franchise, and we have like many locations across the country, and we have very good vendor relationships. We have what we call a no questions asked warranty, which means for 5 years, for most of all of our products, that if anything happens to the product while it's in someone's home, the product is warranted. Our service isn't. There's a little service fee for us to kind of take care of it, but the product itself is warranted for 5 years.
Wow.
There's also some limited lifetime warranties as far as color and warping and things like that. But this no questions asked warranty is a nice peace of mind for people that We've had some pretty interesting situations that I've dealt with before. I can tell you a story about one of them.
Sure. Go ahead.
I had this woman that did shutters, and they were in her family room, and she wanted them because her dog. It was like a low window, so her dog was always like looking out the window or barking at the neighbors walking by, right? So she says, I'm gonna like thwart that, and she goes, I'm gonna put shutters in there so we can't see outside anymore, and I'm gonna put the shutters there and they'll look beautiful, and all the problems will be solved. Well, we went, installed them. A week later, she calls. She's like, "You'll never guess what happened." I'm like, "Oh, what?" She goes, "He put his head through the shutters to look outside to see what was going on with the people walking by." I go, "Okay, well, you know what? It's covered by warranty, but you got to stop him from now on. It's a one-time replacement." So anyway, so that was kind of a funny story.
Leave it to the puppy, right?
Right.
Always banging through.
And I had another customer that she had a very nice house, but she had a dining room she didn't really use as a dining room. She let her kids play hockey, for lack of better terms, in the dining room. And they got a little zealous one day, and one of the balls they were playing with went through one of the shutters. And she called me. She goes, "One of the boys broke one of the shutters. Can you take care of that?" I'm like, "Sure, again." So,
yeah. There you go. Well, I mean, the important part of that story is you have a great warranty, and you stand behind what you install.
Yeah.
Right? And
yes.
so that's, people obviously, they're paying a fairly expensive install and for a quality product. And it's good to know that, I'm paying, fair market rate, but I'm also getting a great warranty, and they're going to stand behind it for, 5 years or more, depending on the product. So that's a good peace of mind for somebody. And also the fact that, listen, I really need to get this done, but I'm a little tight right now. I can do some financing and get this done because whatever reason needs to be done. So that's great that you have that customer service. So tell me more about the showroom. What do I see when I go in the showroom?
Well, it's actually a little house that we've kind of like adapted to our needs. It's been a variety of things over the years. It's been a vet actually back in the day. It's been a real estate office. It's been a CPR training facility. We adapted it to our needs and set up and built a bunch of different displays. It's cozy, but it has very effective use of space. So we have like a whole wall of shutters, so people can come in and see a variety of different ways of shutters, because shutters can have different size louvers, different styles to them, different colors, so people can see those. And a lot of times what it comes down for some people is they're looking at like a shutter or a blind, and we have them like side by side, so you can see kind of how they look comparatively to each other. So that's kind of nice. We have some Roman shades installed. There's a lot of the building actually had a lot of windows, which was perfect for us. Right. So we put something on every window and added more windows. So we have some, consultation tables, so people can come in and look at materials. We can kind of spec out a little bit what they might be looking for. So we can do some of the pre-qualifying stuff in the showroom, because they can come in and look, and then we can just go out and do like a measurement, confirm the colors once we go on site. And it's a pretty nice process to get people going.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
What are the most common questions that you get from people about blinds, would you say? What's their number one request that you get, I think, is I guess where I'm going with that.
A lot of it is how much will it cost? So, and we try to say we have something for a lot of different budgets. There's a lot of different products. And so, we like to say, as I'm sure it might sound reasonable, is that, you get what you pay for sometimes, right? So we have products that have, like, say, in a honeycomb shade, for example, you can get a really nice honeycomb shade that has like a linen material and looks really beautiful, and it has a metal headrail and so forth. That's going to be a little higher price than something that has like a plastic headrail, just kind of a basic material. So
you have some budget-friendly versions, and then you have some higher-end products.
Yes.
So you're able to cater to the clientele and kind of meet their needs where their budget falls.
Yep.
But so I mean, it's obviously a question in there's obviously a question that gets asked a lot, right? So is there like a good budget to carry per window on average? Say, listen, it's $500 a window, $300 a window.
So I think depending on the size of the window, of course, we can get things in for about 150 would be at the low end, and then it can go up from there depending upon what your needs are.
So somewhere in the 150 to 200, I can get a window, average size window,
kind of
treatment
a basic
done.
Product,
something done to get me to the next phase. Maybe it's only for 3 or 4 years, and then I'm gonna get some more money, and I'm gonna put something higher in there.
We also, I should add too, there we also offer a service to customers, is that like a lot of times they're moving to the area and they bought a new house, and they're kind of trying to do everything they can to kind of move in with like furniture and getting their kids set up for school or whatever it might be. And window treatments will be maybe a high priority or a medium priority or low priority, but but they also acknowledge that they might have to move in before the window treatments come in. So we'll actually help them with some temporary shades so that if, like for the kids' bedrooms, we can put some blackout temporary ones in just to kind of tide them over till their product actually is arriving. Okay. So, yeah. So
no, that's good. Yeah, that's good. So, I mean, to me, I'm going to summarize that, is that you're very customer focused.
Yep.
And you want to do what you can to help the customer and get them what they want, when they want it, as quickly as possible, and then get it installed correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's all any customer would want, right?
We do our best to do that.
Yeah. So, tell me what you're seeing. Is there anything else you want to talk about your business?
I can't. We also have like a lot of people think our name can kind of be a little bit of a misnomer, like budget blinds.
Yeah. Let's talk. That's a good point. So let's talk about what other products that you sell.
So we are budget blinds. So we have, but that is kind of like encompassing window treatments, which may be not obvious at first. So we also have like a lot of soft treatments, which would include like draperies and fabric Roman shades. We can put film on people's windows. We can do skylights, which I call it skylight season now because we're in the middle of summer, that it's, gets hot and the skylights can let in a lot of heat. So we can put shades on there for people so that they can kind of minimize that heat.
I didn't even think of that.
And it can be motorized so that they can just hit the button and it can open or close. So
and these are a long-term battery type scenario?
Yep, it's rechargeable. Usually it's what we call a 500 up and down kind of thing.
Wow, so a lot.
Yeah, so roughly about on an annual basis, maybe a year and a half, you'd have to charge them. Wow. And we help people with that too if they need it. Like if it's kind of high and someone's older and they can't get up there, we can help them with that kind of service. Wow. So yeah, so that's pretty popular. So
it's more than just blinds. It's shutters and all kinds of things around window treatments, obviously.
We're like, for the shutter company we're like one of their top dealers in the Northeast. So
wow,
we do a lot of shutters.
Yeah, and are those about the same lead time, the shutters, as the blinds, or?
Yeah, so they expanded manufacturing, so they have Mexican manufacturing for those, so we can get them roughly in 3 to 4 weeks' time, so they can be pretty quick.
And obviously custom color.
We can do a custom color. We have done that. Most of the time, believe it or not, most people want white.
Yeah.
So white is pretty much the common color.
Yeah,
so we can get those pretty easily. But we can do custom colors. We can do specialty shapes. Those come out of a different factory, but they could be ovals or circles or triangles or whatever you need it to be. So.
Yeah, and these are wood.
Well, they're composite and wood. Composite is actually outsells wood by a lot because it's a little less expensive, a little easier to get. They're a little heavier than wood, but sometimes we do wood. If it's a specialty shape, it needs to be wood because it's a little more adaptable.
Yeah, but the composite makes sense too because it's more dimensionally stable.
Yep.
And it's probably a little more heavy duty.
Yeah, it is heavy duty right there because it is a little heavier. So depending upon, it can go a certain size. The wood can go a little bigger because it's a little lighter weight in terms of the panels. Yeah. But it's
so there's a lot. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, there is a lot of details.
Yeah.
A lot of details.
Yeah. So tell me about your daughter. She works in the business with you.
Yep, she does. So it's multi-generation business her dad started, and then
that's cool.
And then I took over, and so she's been working with us for a while. She kind of started off in the office, and now she's one of our lead salespeople. So so she goes out on the road, and customers love her. And occasionally she brings her son in. He's 3, and he keeps us all on our toes when he comes into the office.
Yep.
So gonna get a tape measure in his hand soon. So we'll get him going. So.
And what's his name?
David, after my husband, actually.
All right. So David, shout out to David. If you're watching this a few years from now, you're going to be out there measuring.
Yeah.
All right. So what are you seeing for industry trends?
So I mentioned motorization for the skylights. So motorization is definitely kind of a buzzword, and it's definitely coming on strong. People really want to have that ability to motorize their shades. And there's a few different ways you can get there. We have what we call a power wand, which can just be attached to a shade, and you just hit the buttons, and it's a very simplistic motorization system. But it can be good for people that have a little bit trouble like maneuvering.
Sure, dexterity.
Yeah, shades, typical ways. This is a little bit easier for them. If it's a hard to reach window, this is makes it a little easier as well. So, and then the next step up from that is motorization with the remote, like you would find on a TV kind of
Sure.
thing. And you can have one shade go up, or they all can go up or down, depending on what you need. And then you can automate them, which means that you have some kind of hub that connects to your Wi-Fi in the home.
Yeah.
And you can set up schedules and scenes, and if you're away on vacation, it can look like your house is inhabited.
Shades are going up and down.
Shades
lights
are going up and
coming
down
on.
in their
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Or again, for my older customers that may have a hard time, or might be wheelchair bound, this is kind of a nice option for
Yeah,
them.
no, that's a great option for somebody that has mobility issues or dexterity issues. Absolutely.
Makes them independent. So we've seen a lot of that, and most vendors are now offering that to some capacity. So
Okay. And how is AI creeping into the world of budget blinds?
a little bit, like I was just on a call this morning with somebody that we can get a receptionist that's AI, so we can have people answering our phone that would be AI. I use it a little bit for like creative content on things, for things that we put out there kind of in the world. Other than that, it's kind of a little slow go for us with AI. I expect it to just kind of get bigger and bigger as we go along, but for right now, we're just kind of hitting the surface of that a little bit. So not a lot yet, but we're getting there. The other thing I wanted to mention, though, and it's timely this time of year, is that outdoor shades is also another thing that is an option for.
Oh, like mounted on the house.
Yeah, well, not an awning style, but like, some people have like porches or porticos or like any kind of outside structure.
Sunroom, something like that. Yeah.
We have shades that can be outdoors, so they have like a stainless steel bracket, and they can be, suitable for, mounting outside and with stainless steel chains, so there's no issues with the exterior.
Wow, I didn't even think of that as a thing.
So it allows people to extend their space, and they show like if you have these shades in place, it can help keep the climate of the room. So you like in the fall, if you want to have a nice outing outside, you can sit outside, not freeze.
And then you're not going to bake in the summer like an easy bake oven.
Yes, right. Yeah. So it's nice to have that option as well.
All right. Common misconceptions in your field.
Common misconceptions. Well, we often get that, you say you're budget blinds, but you're not really budget. But compared to other people or other companies in the industry, we offer a lot of different options, so we can kind of cater to what people's needs are. So we like to pride ourselves on that. The other misconception is blinds don't last forever, unfortunately. So at some point, we have people calling us and they just don't want to give up the ghost or want to get like a 30-year-old shade replaced. Maybe not replaced, but repaired. And sometimes it's just not possible. Once you open that up, it just can open up a lot of can of worms.
Yeah.
So, we like to help people as much as we can and kind of give them like, the best case scenario, but sometimes it's just not possible. What else is a misconception? Blackout, like in a person's bedroom, like it's hard to get 100% blackout, so we like to qualify that and say we get as close as possible, but it's not quite blackout. Like sometimes we do the best we can, but there's other factors that can affect that. So
you're always going to get a little sunshine in there.
Yeah, a little bit. So.
All right. Fun stuff now. Favorite tool you can't live without?
Tape measure.
I knew you were going to say that one.
Followed closely by a laser measurer. I'm old school. I like to use both.
Yeah. Dream project you'd love to work on?
Dream project I'd like to work on. Let's see. I would like to I would love to do more like design homes, as far as like the model homes for like developments, or when they do those show home projects, I would love to do things like that, because it just like opens up like the creativity you could do for any kind of environment. That's the beauty of window treatments, right? You can have window treatments that can like tie your room together, give you some functionality at the same time, and just add some aesthetic that you're like kind of finishing the space with. So I think, doing any kind of like high-end design home kind of place would be like really, I think be really cool, because you just would be exposed to so many people.
Yeah. Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received. For business or personal?
Could be either one, or could both.
Best piece of advice. Don't sweat the small stuff. You know, like we always say this is it's not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. So we always try to put itself in perspective. It's only window treatment. So we just try to say that, you know what, we do the best we can, and if, you know, things happen, and we try to fix things as we go along. So
absolutely.
We just try not to let it get to us. And we do try to fix any situation. We bend over backwards for people to make it right.
Yeah, no, I absolutely understand that and believe it. Advice you would give your younger self? And it can't be, don't sweat the small stuff. You already used that one.
I know, I was going to say. I guess slow down and enjoy the moment. I'm always looking for the next thing and how I can, like, you know, always, like, expand the business or, you know, do something for the employees, or I'm always, like, looking down the road, but sometimes you have to be in the present moment. So sometimes it's hard not.
It is.
It's hard to do
Favorite food and dessert?
Well, dessert is easy. Anything chocolate is good in my book. I'm good with anything chocolate. So,
all right.
Favorite food? Well, I'm a gardener, so I like having a lot of, like, now's that time of year when all the stuff is coming out of the garden. So I love all the fresh stuff. And like, I was out in the garden with my grandson the other day. We were picking raspberries and just eating them. It was just great, and they taste so good.
Yeah,
so,
there's nothing like fresh fruit right off the.
Oh, right off the vine, or when the tomatoes come in, it's just like amazing.
When I was a kid, there was cranberry bogs, you know, near us, and they would be these wild grapes, and you just smell them going by.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have a couple, and next thing you know, you ate 200 of them. So. If you had $10 million to donate, who or what would you donate it to?
The first thing that comes to mind is, like, kids in need. Like, you know, I work with a local church, and we always are doing, like, food drives and so forth like that. So I like to make sure that they're kind of taken care of. And actually, some of that money I would probably donate to my church, because a lot of churches are struggling because of lower membership or you know. So I like to. I would probably do something like that, help them. Our church is also involved with Habitat for Humanity, so maybe do some things for them. So I'd probably put in a few different buckets, not just one. So I feel like that's pretty important. We also help another organization on the South Shore called Wellspring, and they help local folks, like, kind of, it's a hand up, not a hand out. So they try to help people get, you know, back on their feet, so to speak.
Right.
So I would probably donate to them as well.
Well, anything else you want to talk about? Budget blinds.
Let's see. What else should we talk about? Have we covered everything? I mean, I guess the beauty of budget blinds is we have, like, so many offices across the country. We have over, like, 1,000. So we all kind of look working together, and that gives us some buying power. And that's good for our customers, because we can get a good representation of products, and we're not just focused in on one vendor, which is kind of nice. We can kind of cater to what people's needs are. It's not just one thing, and that's the only thing. It's nice to have the variety available for people to kind of have that. And the other thing I would like to mention is that we were recently just voted from the South Shore Home Life and Style magazine. We've got the Boss Award for window treatments, and that's kind of a testament to, like, our clients and customers voting for us.
Wow.
And we came out on top. Last year we were runner-up. This year we came out on top.
All right, there you go.
That's kind of a source of pride for us to have that award in our back pocket, so to speak.
Sure.
It's nice.
Well, that's because you're working hard.
Yeah, we're trying to promote that so people know that we have that, because it is a competitive environment. So we're trying to do what we can to kind of let people know all the benefits they have by working with us. And we have a great team, and we all work well together. And it's amazing to me. Like some of the team is pretty young, like they're half my age, but they're well seasoned at this point, so it's awesome.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
We have a good presence out there in the market, so
Awesome.
we're proud of that.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the BuildX Podcast. Thanks to Cathy Martin from Budget Blinds for joining us. Please subscribe, like, and share if you've enjoyed it. See you next week, and remember, just build, baby.
Thank you.